From the Richmond Journalism Teaching Studio at the University of Illinois campus, UI7 News, your U of I news source.
Good evening, Champaign-Urbana. I'm Dixie Lambacia. Welcome to your Thursday edition of UI7 News.
And I'm Shane Eisenhuth. We have a show chock full of political results from the recent elections for you, as well as some exciting sports news from the Fighting Illini.
In national news, 12 people were fatally shot early this morning in a California bar.
If you're hearing gunshots fired, one person advising there's a subject inside shooting.
An all too familiar dispatch as police get word of another mass shooting, this time in Thousand Oaks, California.
First down through, we got multiple people down. We need a lot of ambulances and fire.
Sheriff's investigators have identified the gunman. They say he was a former Marine and known to law enforcement.
In April of this year, deputies were called to his house for a subject disturbing. They called out our crisis intervention team, our mental health specialist, who met with him, talked to him, and cleared him.
The horror began around 11:20 p.m. when the gunman entered the Borderline Bar and Grill. The country bar was hosting a college night, and it was packed with students.
So then our friends got the bar stools and they started slamming it against the window so we could get out. That's how we were able to get out. They broke the window.
At least a dozen people were killed, including Sheriff's Deputy Ron Hellis, who was one of the first to respond.
Gave his all. As I told his wife, he died a hero because he went in to save lives, to save other people.
This marks the 304th mass shooting in the U.S. since 2018.
Break out the Long Johns and hot cocoa because we're in store to get some snow this weekend. As you step out the door Friday, be prepared to be bombarded by some heavy winds with some scattered snow showers. It'll get up to 39 and will get down to a chilly 19 degrees. Luckily, the snow won't stick around long as the sun returns on Saturday. The chill still lingers with only a high of 34 and a low of 23. The sun looks like it's committed to sticking around as it peeks through the clouds on Sunday with a high of 43 and a low of 28. Make sure to make the most of this sunny weekend because the weather will only get colder from here on out.
Information about an investigation into the University of Illinois police has gone public. The News Gazette published a story on Sunday that details of how an officer had repeatedly had inappropriate behavior. The investigation ended on July 14th and was focused around a veteran training officer. It found that Officer Brian Tyson did not violate any sexual misconduct policy, but his behavior was deemed highly inappropriate. Female officers came forth to talk about the history of Tyson's actions. One officer said Tyson would continually play with her hair and knees during the patrols, and at one point commented on her and her students' legs. UIPD Police Chief Craig Stone joined the department a few weeks before the investigation wrapped up. He says he took immediate actions and steps towards discipline as the officer, as well as restructure the sexual harassment training and reporting.
I want to make it clear that everyone understands that this type of behavior will not be tolerated and it's unacceptable. Anybody who's a victim or a witness should report it. And I want them to feel comfortable that they can come to me as well if they don't want to go to their immediate supervisor.
Officer Tyson was taken off the training staff and put into a disciplinary department program. He is also separated from working with female officers, and that made him comfortable. Chief Stone said that the police union's collective bargaining set parameters for the consequence. He also said that if students or faculty see any inappropriate behavior from an officer, to immediately alert the department.
With the midterm elections wrapping up on Tuesday, hopefully you got the chance to get out and vote. I had the chance to see just how hectic polling locations were as students tried to get out to cast their own vote.
Last name and your address on the same screen to verify your residency.
With the help of faculty and local organizations, Champaign-Urbana has made a big push to get people to the polls.
This morning we basically talked for an hour about the election instead of doing our regular lecture, and they were like, if you don't vote, you're like horrible and you're ruining the system. So I think that classes play a big role in getting students kind of like peer pressured into going to vote.
The Illinois student government has been instrumental in providing students with information necessary to stay informed for this year's election.
We've had like an Illini Democrats, Republicans, Libertarian, Socialist dialogue series that has probably encouraged like voter interaction, voter turnout, and voter information.
With a steady stream of voters coming in since early voting started, the union wanted to expedite the process so students were able to cast their vote. With the large voter turnout this year, the union had to open up 2 more rooms just so the students could get their hands on this year's midterm ballot. Nana Owusu, a first-time voter, was impressed by the sheer scale of the operation.
Looking at different areas and locations is just very amazing how everyone is taking their time and their effort to vote because it's very important.
Even public transportation got involved on Election Day, with MTD and Uber offering free rides to the polls. With the election now over, the Democrats have taken back the House, while the Republicans have improved their standing in the Senate.
Well, that's funny, Shane. I went out yesterday and got student reactions from the aftermath of the election. Let's take a look. Midterm elections are finally over and results are in. J.B. Pritzker defeated Bruce Rauner and is officially the new governor of Illinois. With the dust finally settling, we wanted to see who students voted for and what they're expecting from this new face. Senior Samira Sarma says she voted for Pritzker, but she really isn't expecting any change.
In that way, you don't elect somebody and then all of a sudden your life is different and there are big changes.
With so many students that voted for Pritzker, it was pretty difficult to find a Rauner voter, but not impossible. Sophomore Ryan Klemps says that he was a little disappointed when Rauner lost, but he says he agrees with some of Pritzker's changes to come since Illinois is in doubt.
I heard that he was planning on legalizing cannabis and taxing it, which I think would be a great economic boost to the state.
With a lot of changes occurring, like the Democrats taking over the House, all these students agree that there's going to be many debates with the House and the Senate. If you didn't get a chance to vote this year, the next big election will be 2020. Still to come on UI7 News, President Trump is looking for a replacement. Attorney General Jeff Sessions is on his way out.
And a little later, we take a look at how the House and Senate have changed after the midterms.
In 1 minute to find out if you may have prediabetes. You can do it here. But I get it, you're busy, and busy people can't have prediabetes. I read that wrong. They can, okay. Just go to the site.
It's not my first time bartending, so...
It's a sausage party in here.
It's fine. I'm very familiar.
Yeah, because you're a sexy girl, Sam. Last thing, totally last thing.
Yeah.
Is that the music, when Momo kicks it into high gear, is going to get a little bit loud in here. So your customers are going to have a hard time hearing you. So you may want to...
What?
Why don't you ever see elephants hiding in trees? Because they're really good at it. Yeah, I get it.
What do you think you're doing, Kevin?
Was just gonna drive home.
There are several warning signs present that you shouldn't be driving.
Like hearing voices?
Like your text-to-emoji ratio?
Oh man, the selfies. Selfie, nailed it.
We all have warning signs that let us know that we're probably not okay to drive. Mine is pretending to be your subconscious.
Craig, come on, man, let's split a ride home.
Welcome back to the UI7 News. In the aftermath of the midterm elections, the Trump administration has already made a splash in the news cycle, with new resignations and a rough press conference.
A news conference that was expected to be a victory lap for President Trump instead descended into chaos. While the president played coy and didn't tip his hand on his decision to fire Attorney General Jeff Sessions.
We're looking at different people for different positions. You know, it's very common after the midterms.
He was sounding off in nearly every other direction. Asked about Democrats riding the midterms into power in the House of Representatives, Mr. Trump bristled at the notion he will be under a slew of investigations, warning he'll retaliate.
They can play that game, but we can play it better because we have a thing called the United States Senate, and a lot of very questionable things were done between leaks of classified information and many other elements that should not have taken place. And all you're going to do is end up in back and forth.
The president tried to sidestep what could be the biggest worry for the White House, that Democrats will demand to see his tax returns.
I'm on a very continuous audit because there are so many companies, and it is a very big company, far bigger than you would even understand. But it's a great company, but it's big, and it's complex, and it's probably feet high. It's a very complex instrument, and I think that people wouldn't understand it.
Mr. Trump was clearly taking the election returns personally, slapping at House Republicans who decided to steer clear of the president and lost.
Mia Love gave me no love, and she lost. Too bad. Sorry about that, Mia. And Barbara Comstock was another one. I mean, I think she could have won that race, but she didn't want to have any embrace.
Then Mr. Trump started taking swipes at journalists over questions about his false claim during the campaign that a migrant invasion was underway on the border.
They're hundreds of miles away, though. They're hundreds and hundreds of miles away. That's
I
not an invasion.
Honestly, I think you should let me run the country. You run CNN.
All right.
And if you did it well, your ratings
Let
would
me
be
ask,
much better.
if I may ask one other question. Mr. President, if I may ask
Peter,
one other
ahead.
question, are you worried?
That's enough. That's enough.
Mr. President,
That's
I was
enough.
going to ask one of the other folks.
That's
have had,
enough.
Pardon me, ma'am. Mr.
Excuse
President.
me. That's enough.
Despite the pipe bomb sent to CNN and other Democratic politicians, the president returned to his favorite insults for the media.
Okay, just sit down, please. Well, when you report fake news, when you report fake news, which CNN does a lot, you are the enemy of the people.
The president also lashed out at reporters who simply asked why he considers himself a nationalist.
Why do I have among the highest poll numbers with African Americans? I mean, why do I have my highest poll numbers? That's such a racist question. Honestly, I mean, I know you have it written down and you're going to tell me. Let me tell you, it's a racist question.
And whether Mr. Trump is in fact a racist.
And I don't use racist remarks. And you know what? If I did, you would have known about it. I've been hearing there are tapes for years and years. There are tapes. Number one, I never worried about it because I never did. I never used racist remarks. I've never used racist remarks.
5 seconds.
Now that Decision 2018 is coming to an end, it's time to pick up and recycle those election signs. The Champaign County Clerk's office said all public election signs were supposed to be removed the day after the election. Yesterday, the Illini Union, as well as the main quad, still had a few up, but they've been since removed. The county clerk's office said city governments are responsible to remove signs from public property. So if you have any questions, call the city of Champaign or Urbana for more information.
After a high-profile midterm season that resulted in a majority Democratic House and Republican Senate, records have been set. The House welcomed a number of minority contenders deemed trailblazers for making first for their race and gender. UI7's Hina Raja has more.
Jared Polis of Colorado became the first openly gay man to be elected governor.
Tonight, right here in Colorado, we proved that no barrier should stand in the way of pursuing our dreams. We proved that we're an inclusive state that values every contribution, regardless of someone's sexual orientation or gender identity.
Democrat Ayanna Pressley became Massachusetts' first elected black woman in Congress.
Tonight in Massachusetts and across the country, we are standing in our power. The same power my mother told me we had, the same power that compelled me to raise my hand and to not ask permission to lead.
And 2 Muslim women joined Congress for the first time ever with the election of Democrat Rashida Tlaib of Michigan and hijabi Democrat Ilhan Omar of Minnesota.
Like I was part of a family. Because here in Minnesota, we don't only welcome immigrants, we send them to Washington.
With the party split in Congress, how midterm results will affect largely divided legislative issues will become clear in the next 2 years to come. In Champaign, this has been Hannah Raja, UI7 News.
You know, Shane, this whole week has been definitely about elections, and I was able to even look at the Union. There was long lines of people just waiting to vote. Were you there?
Oh yeah, that's crazy, Dixie. I talked to a few students in line, and some of them said they waited up to 45 minutes.
45 minutes? I had some students that actually waited 2 to 3 hours to get their vote in, which is crazy.
That's ridiculous. Still to come, your weather forecast with UI7's very own Bobby McSwine. And we'll also take a quick look at sports with our very own Bill Waters. Stay tuned.
Forget the day our landlord called and said, read your lease. No pets allowed. My owner tells him my dog ate the lease, but that didn't work. And now I'm stuck in a shelter. But this pit bull is ready for a new crib. I'm loving, loyal, and play well with others. So don't be intimidated by all my muscles, because the biggest one I have is my heart. That's right, I said it.
I send him a text. He texts me back and say, who dis?
The next few weeks, you just made fun of me, like would answer the door and say, who dis?
Who dis?
Drop off a warm meal and get more than you expect. Volunteer at americaletsdolunch.org.
Why don't you ever see elephants hiding in trees? Because they're really good at it. Yeah, I get it.
It's not my first time bartending, so.
It's a sausage party in here.
It's fine. I'm very familiar.
Yeah, because you're a sexy girl, Sam. Last thing, totally last thing.
Yeah.
Is that the music, when Momo kicks it into high gear, is going to get a little bit loud in here. So your customers are going to have a hard time hearing you. So you may want to.
What?
Hello and welcome back to UI7 News. I'm Dixie Lambacia.
And I'm Shane Eisenhuth. We are officially over a week into November, and it's beginning to feel a lot like Christmas. UI7's Bobby McSwine is here to tell us if Jack Frost has officially overtaken this weekend's forecast. Bobby, what's it looking like?
We're going to take a look at your fastcast. We have a high of 41 degrees right now, and it is cloudy. Sun is already set at 4:42 p.m. tonight. Looking at our local temperatures, we can see over in Springfield is about the same with 41, same in Decatur with 41. Up in Bloomington, we have 39 degrees. If we look over to Danville, we have 41 as well. So we see these local temperatures are just about the same with the low 40s. Looking at our Midwest temperatures, we can see over in Indianapolis, we have 45, and in Louisville, we have 45 as well. But if we look at Kansas City, we have 36, and in Des Moines, we have 36. So there's a little bit of a variation here, but same with the high 30s, lower 40s here in the Midwest. If we look at our national temperatures, we can see quite a variation. If you look over in Los Angeles, we have 71. Phoenix, we have 79. But if we look up in Seattle, it's 46 right now, and in Helena, it's 34. If we look over in Miami, 81 degrees. I'm sure they're having beautiful temperature right now. Many of us wish we could be there. Atlanta is 57 degrees. So nationally, we definitely have a variation coming here. Winter-like temperatures are settling in more areas. But tonight, we have a high of 36 degrees. There will be showers. So if you find yourself still out around 11 p.m., keep those umbrellas with you. And tomorrow, we have a high of 35, and it's going to be cloudy with northeasterly winds of 8 miles per hour. So it is going to be quite cold, so keep those coats. And we're going to take a look at our 5-day here. On tomorrow, we have 35 degrees with a low of 25. Saturday, the sun is going to come out, but it's still going to be 33 degrees. So make sure you keep those coats. It's pretty cold. Ending our weekend on Sunday, 42, is going to be partly cloudy. And on Monday, it's going to be raining. So keep those umbrellas with you, 37 degrees. Finally, on Tuesday, we have 32 degrees, and it's going to be quite cloudy. So, yes, we're moving into those winter temperatures here in Champaign.
It happened last time. Don't move.
Well, thanks, Bobby, so much for that weather. But Shane, I got to tell you, I hate the cold. I hate winter and I hate fall. I just don't like layering up and just being in the cold.
Honestly, I love the cold. What do you think about it, Phil?
Well, I do like my shorts and t-shirt, but I don't mind the cold as long as there's a little snow, because I do like to play in snow.
Please tell me you're not the type of person that wears shorts in the winter.
I used to be in high school. I wore shorts all the time. I just get dropped off by my dad at the entrance, and I just come in shorts.
All right, Phil, that's all the time we have. Now we'll come back with sports after this break.
Testing. Why did the girl ask the mushroom to dance? Because he was a fun guy.
It takes less than 1 minute to find out if you may have prediabetes. You can do it here. But I get it, you're busy, and busy people can't have prediabetes. I read that wrong. They can, okay. Just go to the site.
In the National Football League, the rich keep getting richer. Former Dallas Cowboys wide receiver Des Bryant has found a new home with the New Orleans Saints. Agreeing to a one-year deal reportedly worth $600,000 and bonuses, the Saints have a new weapon in the three-time former Pro Bowl receiver. The 7-1 Saints are the hottest team in the NFL, having won 7 straight entering this week. New Orleans currently features the #2 offense in the league and hopes Drew Brees can connect with Bryant to fill in the gaping hole left by Ted Ginn Jr. and former Bear Cameron Meredith, who were recently lost due to injury. The nets are up and the shots are dropping. College basketball season has started, and all 351 Division I teams are looking for their one shining moment. Fans were treated to a clash of giants to kick off the new campaign as the #2 Kentucky Wildcats faced off against the #4 ranked Duke Blue Devils at the State Farm Champions Classic. Those hoping for a back-and-forth competition undoubtedly left Indianapolis disappointed as the Blue Devils hopped out to an early lead and never looked back on the way to a 118-84 slaughtering of Kentucky. Duke was led by their star-studded freshman class featuring 3 of the top 5 national recruits, who combined for 83 points. Basketball is also in the air at the University of Illinois as the women's team opened the season with an 88-60 win over Alabama A&M, led by junior forward Allie Andrews' 17 points. The men's team hopes to continue the winning way as they host the Evansville Purple Aces. Sophomore guard Trent Frazier will be joined by 5-star recruit Ayo DeSumo to combine for one of the Big Ten Conference's most promising young backcourts. Coach Underwood has stressed that the Illini are a much different team than last year, and the focus is winning games above all else. Illinois will be tested early this season. The Fighting Illini will host Big East opponent Georgetown on Tuesday before battling nationally ranked Gonzaga in Hawaii at the Maui Invitational. Now, without further ado, it's time for Phil's Tip of the Week. It's getting cold outside, guys, And I recommend wearing not one, but 2 pair of socks for those cold days trudging through the snow. You pull the first one off, and you got a fresh one right after that. That's it for sports. Back to you guys.
Well, Phil, I think I'm probably going to do that. I get cold easily. Also on the quad was UI7's Joseph Longo. He hit the pavement to see if students have been keeping up with all things Decision 2018, now that the election is over.
Did you vote?
I did.
Where'd you vote?
I voted here at the Union.
Yeah, I voted in Champaign.
Champaign County.
Yes, I did vote yesterday.
Yes, but I voted in New York. I voted absentee ballot in New York.
A mail-in.
No, I did not.
I actually did not.
Do you know who our governor is?
Ronner?
But we just voted him out, and now it's JP Pritzker.
JB Pritzker, right?
Pritzker. Yes.
Did JB win? Yeah. Yeah. Maybe I wasn't supposed to react.
How about our state attorney?
Oh, what? Is that the one that starts with a K? I did not know I was gonna get dragged. I don't know. With a W? I voted for him.
The only person I know that won, I think, was Kwame, run attorney.
Probably following the national stuff more in a way, because I kind of was safe and sound in New York City in terms of my politics.
Oh yeah. Didn't Ted Cruz win Texas?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thoughts on that?
Oh. Bummer. Yeah.
I was all Illinois for the most part, but I'm hoping the good guys won.
Democrats won very essential spots that they took control of the House.
I'm a Democrat, but I did vote for the Republican nominee for sheriff.
I may have voted Republican for, I want to say, one of the judges.
And have you followed up on if you won?
No, I did not.
By the way, Dixie, I just wanted to wish you a happy Diwali and a good luck in the new year.
Oh, Shane, thank you so much. Yeah, we celebrated Diwali yesterday, but today is actually our new year. It's called Sal Mubarak. Can you say that?
You know, Dixie, I don't even think I should try with that word.
Well, you know what? I want to wish all our Hindu viewerships happy Diwali and Sal Mubarak. What about you, Phil? Have you been celebrating anything? I know Thanksgiving's coming up.
Thanksgiving is coming up, and for me, it's the best holiday. I think Halloween, a little bit overrated when you're a kid. Lots of fun, sure. But as you grow up, it starts teetering off. Same with Christmas. You stop receiving all the big presents you got from your aunts and uncle once you have to start fending for yourself in the real world. And Thanksgiving just always knows its role. It's a great, great meal. Turkey is great.
Yeah, tell me your staples. What are your favorites to eat? I know like pumpkin pie is like the big thing. But tell me what else is going on.
I'm a big pumpkin pie fan, you know. The pumpkin spice itself, you ever get the pumpkin spice latte from Starbucks?
No, I'm actually the very few that's never gotten a pumpkin spice latte. But, I don't want to get into that trend, not just yet. What about you?
I like the mashed potatoes and gravy. I get a little corn in there, a little chicken in there, maybe some ham or turkey. That is some tasty, tasty food. Absolutely.
What about any other traditions you guys do besides eating?
Yeah, well, always after the end of Thanksgiving, my mom brings the whole family together, has to take a picture, post it on Facebook, get a bunch of likes from all her friends, and have a couple smiles.
Well, speaking of social media, make sure to give us a like on Facebook or follow us on Twitter at UI7 News.
And to get the most up-to-date news, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Just search for UI7 News or go to youtube.com/UI7News.
Make sure to join us next week for UI7's News Thanksgiving special.
That's right, Dixie. You can catch our sister broadcast on Tuesday at 5 p.m. Also a reminder that there will not be a show during Thanksgiving week in 2 weeks.
We hope to see you back here next week, same time, same place. We'll be sure to have your local and breaking news and possibly a recipe for your Thanksgiving needs or Diwali needs.
Well, that wraps up tonight's edition of UI7 News. Thanks for joining us.
We'll be back next Tuesday right at 5 p.m. with another edition of UI7 News. Have a blessed evening, everyone.